Alex Kennedy, hoopshype.com, one of their NBA writers over there. He joins us now with a look at the Sixers, Okafor, and Embiid. A lot of news, Alex, around this team this weekend. I don't know if it was positive news, but a team that has a lot of positive vibes really had a tough weekend.
Yeah, it really did. Obviously Embiid going down is really unfortunate. It's really the one thing that everyone was scared about with Embiid, because I think last time we talked on the show, we said really that's the only thing that can slow him down. We're seeing that opposing centers certainly can't do it. So really injuries are the only thing that can keep him from dominating games at this point. So hopefully it's not too serious. I think that the timing is ideal because of the All-Star break. You obviously never want to have an injury like that, but at least he'll get time off. So it's not the worst timing. But then you have the Okafor rumors, and I think that was something that was just inevitable. I think we knew it was going to be either Okafor or Noel, and it's looking like Okafor's played his last game with the Sixers since he's not traveling with the team, and they sat him down and talked to him, and I give the Sixers a lot of credit for that too. They have been very transparent with Okafor, and they even told him the teams they were talking to. He knew a lot. Usually when a player gets traded, they're kind of in the dark and just guessing and reading things and not really sure what's true, what's not. They sat Okafor down and told him, we were talking to the Pelicans, the Bulls, the Nuggets, and the Blazers. And then, of course, the Blazers and Nuggets the next day made a trade involving two centers. So it seems like the Bulls and Pelicans are kind of the two teams to watch right now for Okafor.
Yeah, so Bulls, Pelicans, they're the two teams that we've heard the most about here locally as well, Alex. Nets and Pelicans kind of talking as well. Do you think the Sixers, sitting on their hands, could end up with Okafor after the All-Star break thinking, we waited too long on this and somebody else jumped ahead of us?
I don't think so. I think they're waiting for the best offer to come in. And actually, this is a funny story. So I was talking to a general manager about 2 weeks ago, and it was completely unrelated. It was about a Jimmy Butler trade, actually. I was just, talking to the GM saying, do you think the Bulls are going to trade Jimmy Butler? And the GM said, the Bulls take forever on everything. They are difficult to negotiate with. If they make a trade, it will happen within the last hour or two of the trade deadline. That they take everything down to the wire. It's not like they're a team that's just going to agree to a trade. They definitely put it down to crunch time and then pull the trigger on deals. So that could be part of why this process is taking a little bit longer. If the Sixers like the Bulls offer and they're just kind of mulling it and want to wait on it and see what happens, like they tend to do according to other GMs, that could be what's going on. But I think really for the Sixers, they're in no rush. I think they're hoping that, they can sort of create a bidding war. We've heard those two teams, but now that every team knows he's available, I think teams had a pretty good idea he was going to be traded. But when you bench the guy and he's not traveling, he's available, maybe they're hoping other teams enter the mix too.
The deals that have kind of been thrown out there, some of the the Lopez stuff today, there was some, Evans, Langston, Galloway, Frazier, and a pick. The Sixers, we heard more about picks. A Jenkins name was kind of mentioned there. Are they acceptable deals for Okafor?
Potentially. I think, Brooke Lopez, I definitely believe that report and those players because, Mike Scotto, he's a guy that I worked with at Basketball Insider. He's extremely credible, does a great job. So, I 100% believe that trade discussion has occurred. So that's definitely good for Philadelphia. Those players are being mentioned. Brooke Lopez is kind of a guy that is an offensive back-to-the-basket center who is a defensive liability at some times. And I know some people have kind of looked at Okafor that way. But Lopez, he's older and has an injury history. So that only bodes well for the Sixers.
Alex Kennedy's with us here, hoopshype.com. And, of course, things changed so quickly after that trade. Denver and Portland decided, hey, we'll just do something together. So they kind of fell out. And you look at the Sixers, who – is it weird to you that Okafor's not traveling at all? Like they just said, hey, stay home?
No, I don't think so. I think whenever I actually covered the Sixers Magic game over the weekend, and one thing Brett Brown said was that Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, and Jahlil Okafor are all extremely close. And, it's not like he was just saying that to, make people, think that or anything. These guys are really good friends. So I don't think Okafor would have been a distraction or caused problems or anything like that. I think it's just a matter of, kind of protecting the kid. You don't want to put him out there in the locker room and, post game and all that and have to, make him answer these questions about rumors, because at the end of the day, what's he going to say? So I think they're kind of shielding him, which, again, I give them credit for.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Sixers have been pretty transparent. And you mentioned, did the Sixers tell him teams that they were talking to?
Yes, Brett Brown told him the teams they were talking to. And that's what I thought was pretty rare. You don't typically hear that in the NBA. So I thought that was kind of refreshing. And I think if the Sixers, run their organization that way, then that's a very player-friendly way to run an organization. Players love that. Agents love that. And I think it's a great way to do business, to be completely honest with you. They were trying to make sure he kind of understood what was going on, because one of the worst things in the NBA is, being a player, finding out of nowhere that you're being traded, and then suddenly you have to move across the country with your family, find a house, learn how to play in a new system for a new coach with new teammates, figure out a new city, and it's all on the fly within like a 24 to 48 hour period. So I think giving him a heads up and saying, look, these are the options, kind of brace yourself a bit, is really the right way of doing things. And I wish more teams did that, to be honest.
So, Alex, you have the opinion that they look good on one front on Okafor, but do you think they look so bad on the Embiid front? How bad does Colangelo look with the things that have transpired with Embiid?
Well, I think it's a good question. I think they would look bad had they removed his minute restriction and things like that. Some fans were asking, for them to do. I think fans were excited about how well Embiid was playing, and I think even Embiid was hoping he could, play more minutes and stuff like that. He made those comments and was frustrated. I think really the Sixers handled it the right way. I know Embiid's got some criticism as well for, some things that he's done off the court, such as dancing on stages and things like that, which, I don't have a problem with. I'm around the same age as Embiid, so I could probably imagine myself doing the same thing at a concert. But, if you're an athlete who's had a lot of injuries and you're sitting out and you're basically, the key to a billion-dollar business, maybe that's not the best idea. A little bit different for Embiid to do that than for me to do that. But I think there's definitely been some mistakes, but these things happen. You really can't point the blame or, at anyone here. Injuries happen. Unfortunately, they've happened a little bit more frequently than usual for Embiid.
By keeping Embiid out, does it give the impression the Sixers want to lose?
That's a good question. Maybe, because the Ben. I think when you look at the Embiid situation and then the Ben Simmons situation, when you combine those, that's when I start to get suspicious. If it was just Embiid, I would say, okay, they're not trying to lose. They're being cautious. They want to make sure that he's, 100%. They don't want any long-term injury. But, I'm of the belief that Ben Simmons could play today. So I think that, you could be onto something there.
Spending a few minutes with Alex Kennedy, do you think that Colangelo saw this team progressing maybe too quickly and then said, let me take my foot off the gas a little bit here?
No, I don't think so. I can't say for certain, obviously, but I don't think you ever want to do that whenever a team is, gaining momentum and gaining confidence. I think this young Sixers team needed that. As you mentioned at the start of this segment, the vibe had really changed in Philadelphia. We saw the fans getting really into it. It was really cool, actually, when the Sixers were in Orlando. I walked into the visiting locker room, and Nerlens Noel was smiling. Everyone was laughing. I hadn't seen the Sixers locker room like that in quite some time, pregame or postgame. So it was kind of cool to see everyone in a good mood. And I actually interviewed Nerlens, and my article is running tonight on Hoops Hype, and he talks about that, how it feels like a different culture, a different team, a different atmosphere. So I don't think you want to disrupt that.
Alex Kennedy, Hoops Hype with us. You said you said I'm under the impression that Simmons could play today. I think a lot of people agree with you. Do you think he will play this season?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to play this season. I think whenever he had that Instagram post where he kind of put the emoji out there and people took it as a hint that he may be making his debut on national television. I think that was him trying to get some attention. I think, that's him being a kid. And I think a number of these guys have kind of seen what Joel Embiid's done on social media. And I think they've kind of followed in his footsteps and realized, hey, I can kind of become a fan favorite and get some attention if I do this kind of thing. But then it turned out, the Sixers weren't ready to play him. But I think that kind of shows that he was hoping to play that game, or at least thought maybe it was possible. I think that he could play, even if it's not, full games or anything like that. I think he could certainly, come off the bench and, have a minute restriction, or at the very least, put him in the D League in a rehab assignment. You don't see teams do that a lot with, number one picks, but it's happened in the NBA with, veterans even, where guys been injured and you put them out there to gain confidence and get their legs back. So I think it's possible that he could play now.
You think we'll see Embiid play again? There's some people now skeptical here that they're going to hold him out the rest of the year. Do you get that vibe? You were in Orlando.
No, I really don't think so. I think he'll play again. I'd be really surprised, especially hearing some of the comments that were made about the injury. It didn't seem like this was a serious injury that everyone was freaking out about, and oh no, it's going to happen again, where we don't know how long he's out. It's indefinite. It seems like it's one of those injuries where the timetable isn't too crazy, and we should see him again. Now, I think when he does come back, they may have him on a lower minute restriction to be careful, but I do think he'll play again. I think you want to go into next season, obviously, if Embiid's injured and, you're making moves, shaking up the roster, Simmons isn't out there, any talk of a playoff push kind of goes away. So getting Embiid back out there, getting Simmons out there, that just gets the fans excited and builds momentum for next season.
All right, last one for Alex Kennedy, who has great stuff at hoopshype.com, hoopshype.com on the trade rumors out there. Do you believe that Okafor will be a Sixer at the deadline?
No, I don't. I think he'll be traded. Right now, I think the front runner is Chicago, especially now that you have the Pelicans in conversations about Brook Lopez. It's interesting. I think maybe that's why the Bulls do the kind of thing where they wait and, see if they can hold out as long as they can to pull off a deal, because, other suitors kind of drop off like flies because they acquire other players and they want to move on quicker. So I think the Bulls could end up with Okafor. I think pretty much everyone in the organization believes Okafor is going to be with another team. And look, I think that could be great for Okafor. I've talked to executives that have said in the right situation he could thrive, and I'm really hoping he can. He's a great young kid.
You like, are there players there in Chicago that you think are good match, or is something that, because I look at their roster and I wonder if there's a deal there for the Sixers.
Yeah, I heard Taj Gibson mentioned as a possible piece. That was kind of surprising to me, just because he's more of a veteran, but it would suggest that the Sixers are looking toward winning next season and really taking that next step. Obviously, draft picks and some younger players may be included. They have some younger guys there. They obviously have Grant, Doug McDermott. They have a number of guys that could be thrown in the deal to make it work, but it'll be interesting.
It's not going to be Jimmy Butler. It's not going to be Butler, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not getting Butler. You're not getting Dwayne Wade. They'll give you Rondo for a sandwich if you want, but I think it's going to be young players and maybe someone like Gibson.
Alex Kennedy at Alex Kennedy NBA. Check out his stuff on hoopshype.com for all the NBA trade rumors. Thanks, pal.
Thanks a lot, man.